Bev Michelson, and I remember Jim. The first time I ever met him, he's always smiling, and he's such a kind and generous man. And happy birthday, Jim. Not only that, I watch him raise his family and his kids. Same thing, they're kind, and I really appreciate it. So there again, happy birthday, Jim.
Tell me a joke that Grandpa did. Are you recording right now?
Oh, he's editing stuff out.
Okay. Tell me, we can do a joke that he's told us.
Well, we were just sitting on the ground and we just chilling, and
Look at the camera, talk loud.
he said that why do feet smell and noses run? And it was hilarious. It was the smartest thing I've ever heard.
I think you messed up the punchline.
Why do feet smell and noses run?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah. Grandpa always has these random jokes that are hilarious, and you just never know when he's gonna say them. He could just be like chilling on the couch, a little looking like this, and his eyes are closed, or maybe he's watching the TV or listening, and then all of a sudden he laughs, and you're like,
Man.
I thought he was sleeping, but then he comes up and he says, hey, I remember this one time, and then he'll just start telling you a story, always with his hands, and he's just an amazing, informational human being, and I couldn't imagine my house without him now. I'm really gonna miss them when they go to Arizona for the winter, but they'll be back, and then we can go out and visit them.
Right.
Yeah. I can't believe he's 85. I feel like him and Aunt Connie move around and do more things than I do on a daily basis, and I'm 23 years old and straight out of college and working as a nurse, and I still feel like they probably put in more steps than I do every day. Their to-do list is never ending, and I hope that when I'm 85 years old that I could be just as energetic.
Is that all you guys want to say?
I'm sure we'll come back with more later, Grandpa.
All right.
Rich Michelson. Some of my funnest times with Jim has been when one of the guys in the club gets a car, and maybe it's not been run in a long time, and Jim's noted for when he can get them started, but when he gets them started, he floors it. I mean, revs them things up till you think they're going to blow up. And he's filled the garage full of smoke and dust and mouse nests and dust before, with cars sitting so long the mice has built nests in the exhaust and everything. Anyway, he's well known for even his little hot rod. When he fires that thing up cold, he has no mercy on the throttle. No, your brother.
Oh, well, yeah.
And but anyway, that's one of the things I remember about Jim. And I met him years ago with Mike when they built a little 32 Ford yellow car, and I put some artwork, nose art, what they call, on it for him. And that's when I first met him, probably 25, 30 years ago. But been a good friend and go-to guy when you want to know something about a car. You know, Jim's a good man to talk to about it.
Yeah. What about you? What's your name?
He's my brother. I'm Dave Lanning, known as Uncle Dave around here, I guess. But anyway, I can remember one thing we had. He built back. Oh, it was back when I was probably 7, 8 years old, maybe, something like that. Anyway, he had a little shop and ran an airport both out on 26 there. And he'd built a little register, and Wendell Lang came over in a pickup truck with an Oldsmobile engine in it. And our register had an old flathead. Anyway, we started down there at 800 and run toward 213, Keys sheared in the back wheel and pulled us to the right a little bit, and we went off the road, and then we seen this big tree coming. We jumped the road onto the other side and got stopped without hitting that tree on the other side. But it was kind of an exciting thing, and I remember when we got over there headed for that great big tree, Jim reached over and grabbed me by the leg and he said, "Hold on!" And then he gave a big old twist and away we went, boy. Hell of a ride.
Yeah.
But that's just one of the things that we done. And of course, he messed with airplanes, and that always drug me along with him to move airplane parts and stuff. So it's been a good life, a long life. And we done a lot of things that most of us shouldn't do, but wanted to. Anyway, that's about it for me.
Do you have any airplane stories?
Do I have any airplane stories? Only on me. I don't have too many on him.
Oh, okay.
We went one time, picked up this SR-9, which is Gull Wing Stinson. It is a great big damn airplane. Anyway, we went picked it up, and they was driving it back. We had to go through this bridge. There's an old iron bridge, had big bolts on it. We couldn't get the wheels through there because the bolts stuck out on the bridge, so we took a wrench, took the nuts off of them and drove them back flat. Took the airplane through, and then we pulled up across there and took a hammer and drove them back out, put the nuts back on, and went on. And I don't know, there's just
A lot of stories.
A lot of stories. I could sit here and tell stories for time after time. We went fishing up in Michigan one time. We flew up there, and the weather got bad. We was down to about 200 feet over woods. That's all you can see was points of these woods, and we was headed for an omni up there, directional omni. It took us into the airport. Anyway, we flew right over top of that sucker and could barely see it. Made it into the airport, got in there, filled up with fuel, and that was another thing, we was low on fuel. We filled up with fuel, sat around there, and we went out on the end of the runway and called the tower, and the tower man says, "Hey," says, "I got 3 guys sitting here to go IFR." And he says, "If you guys get in front of them and get the hell out of here, where you're going's clear." So he says, "You'll be up to the lane there about 2 miles, you'll be in clear air." So pulled out there, and he's got an expensive airplane sitting over there, and we went out and off we went through there. And went on, done a lot of good fishing, had a lot of good times.
Awesome.
But, that's it.
My name is Denny Percifield. Mr. Lanning's been a lot of help. Very knowledgeable man. I do some work on his house from time to time, and just been a real great friend.
Cool. Any stories or anything?
That's about it. No, he just comes up to the shop and we work, and like I said, he's very knowledgeable. He's like a Bible.
Very cool.
All right.
Hey there, buddy.
Here's a guy that's not camera shy. He can talk.
Tell us your name and give us a story if you like.
Hey, my name's Mark Valadez, and Jim, quite a guy. He's a true car guy. He showed me how to put points in a flathead Ford, which I had never done, and probably without him doing it and showing me, I would have really had a messed up operation going on there. So Jim, thank you, and thanks for teaching me that. So there's my story.
All right, awesome.
All right.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Yep.
Well, it's your 85th birthday, Grandpa. What do you got? You got any
Words of wisdom?
words of wisdom for younger folks?
Yeah, it's young people.
Well,
He's talking about me, right?
yeah, take care of yourself. Don't be smoking and drinking and carousing around with the women. It's chilly. It
Here.
was chilly this morning.
Sit down here and tell it.
Well, I don't know any damn story.
Linus is a fella with. Sit out here with me.
Yeah, but the hell, I know.
It's all right. It's all right. It won't.
He'll ask you the
It
question.
won't hurt.
Yeah.
Ask him that question. He'll give you the same answer.
Do you have any words of wisdom for?
About living so long.
About living?
I told him that don't smoke and don't drink and don't run around with the women.
There you go. Those three things. Now that middle one now.
What's left?
Well, there ain't nothing.
The drinking a little bit. We drink a little bit.
That's right. Shit, yeah, you got to drink. Well,
and we do look at the women a little. But,
yeah. You know, I was telling you, Vern this morning. He said, "I'm all right, but my back is no good." I said, "Well,
yeah, I got that.
I had the same thing and series of shots, the big old, big nice ones. They stick them in your back real good, and you lay on this bed with a hole in it. Did you have that?
No, I laid on the bed.
Where your spine stretches out, you know.
He gives you a numbing shot, and it's about as bad as the damn shot itself.
It ain't worth a hoot. I said, "Did you put it in there?" Yeah. Yeah. Well, shit.
You can feel it going
once
down
you
your
get that
leg.
big one in there, get down towards.
You feel it go right down your leg. Yeah.
Well, anyhow.
Grandpa, do you have any airplane stories? I know you got some good.
Well, yeah, we.
Where we got
Jim taught me to fly. Hell, when I was what?
That's right, he
17 or
did.
something.
And Dick Somerton and Blackie. And old Blackie's gone. Yeah.
Old Blackie.
So that was just a couple months ago. Is that
Yeah,
right?
Blackie upset that airplane during Beanfield.
He did. I wasn't in on that.
Well, knocked the prop over.
Yeah. I'd be scared the crap out of
Oh, he did.
What year do you think that was?
Oh, God. You guys are driving 66 Chevrolets.
60, yeah.
So it must have been about in there, 65.
64, 5, long in there.
Yeah, you had a 62 Black Impala.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I, yeah, that's what I drove out to the airport most of the
See,
time.
they got their hair cut up at Ned Gunt's, and then he bought the tavern.
Yeah, exactly.
And I remember running around. Blackie always drove a pickup truck.
Oh, pickup, a black Chevy pickup.
Yeah.
But he upset it. He was going to see somebody. I don't know who in the hell it was. But
was he taking off or landing?
No, he's landing. And it's bean stubble field. Well, I did that a time or two, but he put the brakes on. Now you ought to be doing that.
No,
the ground was soft.
Yeah.
And the wheels dug in.
And just
he flipped it over on its nose. Well, I don't know where he was chasing that. You talking about women? He wasn't chasing her, about going to visit.
Going to visit, yeah.
Well, but then, so we had to get that fixed.
You wasn't along when we went over to get Gene McCulley's over Baker's Acres, was you? That was a cool.
No, I remember.
Yeah, damn, that was awful cool.
Remember telling that story, but
we went to the fly-in once. You remember?
Yeah, Oshkosh.
Yeah, and well, I don't know where we were. We were somewhere, and it kept raining, and the weather was bad, and everybody got together and pooled all the money we had, and finally we got out the next day or two, and Vernon had to get home and get back to work.
Go to work.
We come up and
he'd take extension over.
we all had Ronicas, and then one of you guys had the valve stuck on.
Yeah,
get the plug out and get there and pick it, get it going. And
that was Dick.
That was Dick.
That was Dick Summer.
Yeah.
We used to have a lot of fun, didn't we?
Oh yeah, we had a lot of fun. We'd go for 2 or 3 days at a time, you know, we'd go to something.
Go somewhere. Yeah, well, that was back in the days when we had $1, and we didn't have much more than that, but $1. And
it didn't matter, you know.
Yeah, before my daughter come along. But after all that happens, and of course you had the boys then.
Yeah.
God damn flies! What the hell is the matter deal with them?
I don't know. Anyway.
Anyhow, that's all we know about that. But now we know there's a hell of a lot of stories, but we better leave some of them alone.
Yeah.
Name first.
Okay, my name is Ann Lanning Fowler, Jim's sister. When we were kids, Jim had a dog. It was a hound dog, and his name was Blazer. And whenever he ate a candy bar, Blazer got a bite, and then he got a bite, and then Blazer probably took the rest of it. That's my story.
We got room for more.
I don't have any more stories.
You don't have any stories?
Honestly, you know what? It seemed like he was always out with Dad, and I was always in the house with Mom, and he was big brother. He didn't have time for his little sister, so that's the way it was.
Gotcha.
End of story.
All right. All right, give us your name and then go on with your story.
I'm Lainey, and I'm Jim's granddaughter. And I just wanted to share, when I was a little girl, I would stay with Grandma and Grandpa for a week or two at a time. And, you know, sometimes I would get homesick and I'm going to start crying. But Grandpa worked 3 jobs, and he wasn't home a whole lot. But sometimes when I got homesick in the middle of the night, I'd want to call Mom. And I didn't understand why, you know, I couldn't just call Mom in the middle of the night. So anyway, Grandpa would get up out of bed and sit on the couch with me and just turn on the TV and not really say much, but, you know, working 3 jobs just seems like that'd be, you know, a little extra stuff too. But he did with, you know, complete grace. And I'd always fall asleep and feel better the next day. So, ta-da! Love you, Grandpa.
Go ahead and say your names first, and then.
All right. I'm Pat Kane,
And I'm Joellen Kane.
and I've lived most all my life here in Greentown. Known Jim since I was pre-teenager, probably. And it's always been a pleasure. And happy birthday, Jim, and many, many more.
For sure.
As far as the stories go, him and Lenny interviewed earlier, and listen to that. They're all good. The guys are great.
Lenny's my brother, and I remember I was young, about 11, but I remember when they were into building the plane, and Jim taught my brother how to fly. I'll always remember that. So
It's good to see Vern, Jim, Lenny, all of them here today. It's always good.
Good memories.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Been a pleasure, Jim.
Hey, how you doing? I am Jeremy, and I'm actually filming today. And you know, talking about my grandpa Jim, he's just about the smartest guy I've ever met in my life. I mean, it's just interesting. I don't know everything about his past history and life and stuff, but yeah, I just remember growing up, Grandpa he was always doing something. You know, maybe that's why I'm always doing something nowadays. But you know, if he wasn't working out at the shop or trying to find airplane parts or driving a school bus randomly, I mean, it was just amazing that he always had something going on, some project. In retrospect, you know, I kind of look at my life, and it's exactly the same way. I always have a project going on, if not 500. So I don't know. I love my grandpa, and very pleased to have known him and grown up with him. And you know, I just, you know, it's like when we go to dinner or something, my grandpa literally would get into conversations about, you know, how he designed this piece, you know, some specific piece that goes in a car, or it's a gyroscope, and he got real technical, you know, and it's just like, wow, this guy is just smart, you know. So happy birthday, Grandpa, and I hope you have many more to come.